Hi friends, my name is Casey. I use the pronouns she, her. I am currently on Coast Salish territory. For this proper practice, I am going to offer up a fun, vigorous flow where we can incorporate weights for support. Now, maybe you use weights throughout your week in your wellness routine. Personally, I like to a couple days a week. This is not that. So we're not going to be using weights to build strength or fitness. We are using weights to potentially replace blocks. And this can be nice if you ever feel wrist discomfort and pain in down dog or in vinyasas. I'll present options there. And then just other ways that we can see new perspective of our poses or even our bodies in this practice. So I have a lighter set of weights and then a 5-pound weights. Nothing more than 5 or 8s for this practice. And if you don't have weights, that's okay too. You can just keep your hands on your mat and I'll present options. But let's get started just in a comfortable seat. So I'm sitting on a block. I would recommend maybe propping yourself up just a little bit because I will offer up an energizing breath. But whatever helps you find a long spine, you could close your eyes or just soften your gaze down. And just notice your breath. Notice what your energy is like. Maybe it was easy to turn on this class and come to your mat. Maybe there was a little resistance or struggle. That's okay. I know you can stay with your natural breathing or even Ujjayi if you're familiar with that. I will offer up Bastrika Pranayama or Bellows breath. And this is a vigorous breath. If you are pregnant or experiencing any kind of belly discomfort or issues, even high blood pressure, I encourage you to opt out and just stick with normal breathing. We will incorporate a forceful diaphragmatic breath, just breathing in and out through the nose. And we'll do about 3 rounds, about 7 to 10 breaths each round. Take a moment to exhale out your nose and then begin. Back to your normal breath. So that might have felt a little weird or sounded a little weird. We do want it to be audible. Let's go with the second round. Breathe. This is an energizing breath. It's meant to boost your stamina, your energy, your overall well-being. Let's take one more round. And breathe. So you can play with Bastrika. You could make it slower or faster. And maybe just take those short intervals in your morning and in your afternoon if you start to get a little slump or sleepy. And then go ahead and make your way to tabletop. And as you come to your hands and knees, I will invite you to grab your bigger set of weights. So I'm using 5s, as I mentioned. And when we use the weights in our practice, you're going to grip the weights so that the ring part of your fingers is pointing down toward your mat. And then stack your wrists under your shoulders or just a little wider. So we'll move through a little cow-cat. Inhale, drop your belly, lift the crown of your head and your tailbone, and you can add a little resistance, drawing back with your weights. Exhale, cat pose. Tuck your tailbone. Really press your knuckles down into your mat through your weights. And as you continue to pulse with your breath, if you don't have weights or are opting out, this would just look like cow-cat, pressing your palms into your mat and rounding your spine. If you are using the weights, really play around with different types of resistance, kind of pulling back without moving the weights, and then pushing in. One more round of breath. Return to tabletop. And then spin your weights so that the grip part is parallel to the top of your mat. Sink your hips back, child's pose, balasana, and allow your weights to kind of roll forward. So it's almost like a variation of puppy. And you could make your weights a little wider if that feels better for you. So we just have a little added height. You might feel that stretch through your chest and shoulders. Continue to breathe in and out through your nose, not as forceful, but activating Ujjayi, feeling constriction in the base of your throat. And take a few more breaths here. And without your weights, come back to tabletop. And you can just set your weights off to the side. Tuck your toes under, downward facing dog. Press your palms into your mat, lift your knees, and send your hips up and back. Spread your fingers wide and take a little time to settle into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Later in our practice, I'll invite you to use your weights for this pose, but for now, just see what it's like in a variation you might be more familiar with. Notice how this feels on your wrists and your hands. See if you can find length through even your low back. So there might be a little rounding in your lower back. If so, bend your knees as much as you need. Then inhale, gaze between your hands. Exhale, bend your knees, step up for a ragdoll. And in your ragdoll pose, take a little wider stance with your feet. Again, keep your knees bent and just hang over your legs. You could add a little sway or movement side to side, a little pulse. And then find your lighter set of weights. We're going to work with our spinal articulation, adding the weights for just a little extra tension. And you can always opt out. So find that soft bend in your knees. That's important. Press through your heels and slowly roll up to stand. So I often cue this roll up in my classes. So if you're familiar with my classes, notice how it feels different having that extra weight and tension as you stack one vertebra at a time and eventually add a shoulder shrug and arrive standing. And stay here like in a variation of mountain pose with the weights by your sides, your palms or knuckles facing in. Then bring both weights into your right hand. We'll take our spinal articulation into a lateral bend. So you could always let go of one weight. And you're going to focus on contracting your right side body first. Add a little bend in your knees. Your left hand could stay on your hip or it could reach up toward the ceiling as you slowly start to lower down. And if you've done these with me before, maybe you get closer to the ground. You don't have to go that far with the weights. You can really feel that kind of activating your side body. Maybe you are just a little bit lower as you keep your chest open. And then slowly press through your heels, start to straighten your legs. And then use your left side body to contract and lift you to stand. And we'll take a little upper back bend to kind of get into extension in the spine, but I invite you to just hold your weights in front of your hips as you send your hips forward or by your sides, whatever feels more comfortable. So little soft bend in your knees, send your hips forward, lift your chest as you look up into this upper back bend. Then use your core strength, your front body to lift yourself up slowly. Return to neutral. We'll take the lateral bend, the side bend, this time moving to your left. So option to bring both weights into one hand and just letting the weight slowly lower on the outside of your left leg. As you bend your knees, right hand can be on your hip or reach up. Keep your chest open. And you can kind of play with your gaze, play with the distance or depth. And then slowly straightening your legs first and then contracting your right side body as you lift up to stand. We'll move through flexion now as we roll all the way down. So tuck your chin to your chest. And like you're letting the weights just kind of lower slowly in front of your legs, not swinging, not moving fast. Keep your chin in tight to your chest. Eventually coming back to ragdoll. And then gently just roll or set those lighter weights off to the side. And you could bring your heavier weights to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins as you lengthen your spine. No weights in your hands. Exhale, forward fold. Maybe work your legs a little bit straighter. Inhale to stand, soft bend in your knees, reach your hands out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. You could keep a wider base with your feet, or feet could come closer together. Inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. So bend at your hip creases, lower with a flat back. This time, bring your hands to your weights. Take a moment to set up your hands so your knuckles are down, fingers face in. Inhale, halfway lift. So bend your knees as much as you need. Feel that traction pulling back like we did earlier in cow. Exhale, step back, high plank. So again, you can kind of play with the placement of your hands or your weights. And as you come to high plank, firm up your inner thighs, so active through your legs. Know that you could lower to your knees at any time and play with the placement of your weights. We'll move into Chaturanga, so make sure that your elbows go straight back. Inhale. Exhale, bend your elbows straight back. Chest stays open, lower down halfway. Inhale, press back up, high plank with or without your knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. So if you opt for downward facing dog with the weights, your arms are going to be in more of an external rotation. That might feel good, that might not. You can always just let go of the weights and place your hands down. If you are using the weights and you usually feel pressure in your wrists or your hands in down dog, notice if there's any kind of relief. Then we're going to play a little bit here. If you've ever worked on jumping forward, if you're using the weights, you might find a little bit more space, a little bit more height. So inhale, lift your heels as you gaze forward. Exhale, bend your knees like you're preparing or ready to go. Exhale, jump your feet forward between your hands. That may or may not have worked. That's okay. Inhale, halfway lift. So bend your knees a little or a lot. Spine is long. Exhale, forward fold. Send your tailbone up. Let go of your weights. Inhale, reach your hands out and up. Stand tall. Exhale, hands to your heart. So that's our Surya Namaskar, our Sen A variation for this practice. We'll flow through a couple more times, really trying to get our heart rate up. Be mindful of that Chaturanga. Use your knees or opt out. Just try to keep your spine as flat-ish as possible. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. You can grab your weights. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend your knees, lengthen your spine. Exhale, high plank. Inhale, strong legs, lengthen your spine. Exhale, Chaturanga. Bend your elbows straight back. Inhale, straighten, press up, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, gaze forward. Exhale, bend your knees, step or jump. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend your knees, long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to your heart. Samastitihi. Inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend your knees, grab your weights. Exhale, high plank, step back. Inhale, get active, really strong in your body. Exhale, Chaturanga, bend your elbows straight back. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, gaze forward. Exhale, bend your knees, step or jump. Inhale, halfway lift, bend your knees, long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand tall, reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Take a moment. Samastitihi. Notice your breath, notice your heart rate, notice your energy now. Notice any new perspective of poses that might be familiar. Then inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. You can grab your weights as you bend your knees. Exhale, forward fold. So this time we're just going to use one weight. We're going to move into a sun bee variation. So grabbing your weight in both hands, bend your knees first, and then curl or lift your weight to your chest. And we'll just be here in chair pose for a little bit to wake up the legs, the bigger muscles in our body. You could always kind of rest your weight on your thighs if at the chest doesn't feel comfortable for you. Heavy in your heels, maybe a little space between your feet. Now, you can pick up your toes. Feel stable in your foundation. From chair, we will transition into a high lunge. So start to shift weight into your right foot, lift your left heel, and take your time to step your left foot back. So once you come into your high lunge, your weight is just at your chest. That might offer some kind of balancing support at your midline. You could always lower your left knee down and enjoy a little bit more stability. So you choose. Lift your left heel, press your left big toe into your mat. So I'm mirroring you as you bend into your front knee. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Spiral your back foot flat. So take a moment to widen your stance. I'm going to offer you or invite you to place your weight right at your hip crease. So that encourages you to kind of sink into warrior two. If you've ever been in a yoga class and opted in for hands-on assist, a teacher will sometimes place their hand here to offer some stability in the leg. So that's the intention. It's just here for support. If it's distracting or you're worried it's going to fall off, then please just set your weight down. And we've already been here for a little bit, so arms wide, gaze over your right middle finger, and we'll move into dancing warrior. So you have the option to bring your left arm into a half bind and kind of hold the weight in place at your hip crease since we're going to be moving. Otherwise, if that bind doesn't work, you can just flow your arms. Inhale, reverse warrior. Reach your right hand up as you stretch through your right side body. Exhale, extended side angle. Right hand can come down, or you can reach both hands out. We're going to continue to flow. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, extended side angle. A few more. Inhale, reverse. Press in with your right heel. Stretch your right side body. Exhale, extended side angle. Maybe just reaching your hands out. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Stay in it. Inhale. Exhale. Lift your chest up to warrior two. Release your bind if you're using one. Bring your hands to your weight to your chest. Straighten your right leg. Whew. Turn your toes to the long edge of your mat. We'll move into a forward fold. So just let your weight kind of hang down as you inhale. Exhale with knees bent, slowly lower with a flat back. All the way forward. So set your weight under your chest or your face. You can add a little sway in your hips, stretch to the backs of your legs. And then we're going to use the weight to just stabilize us as we move into an open arm twist. So bring your left hand to your weight. Inhale, reach your right hand high, open arm twist. Exhale, lower your right hand down. Switch hands. Inhale, lift your left hand up. Open arm twist. Exhale. And continue to pull side to side. If it feels good to just linger and hold, you can. You could always bring your lifted hand to your low back. Check that your hips are staying more level and not swaying with you. And just like we did earlier in cow-cat, using your weight to create a little press or tension. Maybe find more space in your twist. And then once you're balanced, bring your hands down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lunge. Frame your front foot. You can kind of roll your weight up with you and then step your left foot forward. We'll take all of that on the other side. Go ahead and roll your weight back onto the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift just to neutralize your spine. Your hands could come to shins. Exhale, fold. Grab your weight. Bend your knees. Inhale, chair pose. So taking a moment here to set up. We'll be here for about 5 breaths. Ujjayi Pranayama. Again, your weight could come to your thighs. You could opt out entirely, or keep it close to your chest. If you're feeling a sway in your low back, draw your navel in. Activate your glutes as you sink just a little deeper. Now shifting weight into your left foot, pick up your right heel first, and slowly transition to your high lunge. So again, this weight can be an opportunity to be really present with your midline, your balance point, and then settle into your lunge or your grounded lunge. Press your right big toe into your mat. Lift your right heel away as you sink into your front knee. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Spiral your back foot flat. So we're going to build some heat in the legs. You know what's coming on this second side. Come back to your breath. Find a drishti, a gazing point. Know that you can keep the weight at your chest, set it down, or see what it's like to let it rest right at your hip crease. So kind of encouraging your front thigh a little bit more parallel to your mat, not all the way, but you're sinking your hips down toward the earth. Your front knee tracks in line with your toes. Maybe reach your arms out. Or the half bind, curl your right hand behind your back and just kind of encourage the weight to stay where it is. Press through the outer edge of your back foot. Feel your right arch lift, sink just a little deeper. Try to hold your legs, dancing warrior. Inhale, reverse warrior. Stretch through your left side, lean back. Exhale, extended side angle. And your forearm could come to thigh, reach the inside of your leg, or hand extends forward. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, lift, stretch. Exhale, stay with your breath. Two more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Lift your chest to warrior two. Bring your weight to your chest. Straighten your left leg. Turn your toes to the long edge of your mat. I'll face you. Inhale, let your weight hang down. Exhale, slowly lower with a flat back. We'll move back into our twist. This time, grip with your right hand to begin. Inhale, open arm twist. Lift your left hand up, maybe finding a little bit more rotation. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, twist and open. Hip stays level-ish. Exhale, lower. And as you continue to breathe, I know your hips will want to turn with you, and then you might feel this bigger rotation. But if you can keep your hips stable, then we can get more into the thoracic spine, which for many of us, if you're like me, can be a really tight space. Find balance on both sides. Then make your way back. Wide-legged forward fold. Release your weight. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turn your toes to the top of your mat. You can roll your weight forward and step your back foot up. Without weights, inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your feet back. Few breaths in down dog without the weights. See if you can get a little bit more active as you press into your hands. Inhale, shift forward, high plank. And exhale, lower all the way to your belly. So as you lower down through Chaturanga, this time without weights, just see how that feels different. And as you land on your belly, we will move into a flowing Cobra, and I will offer up the weights, and we'll use them to roll. So similar to what we did earlier in puppy, so that your palms are kind of open on the grip. Start with the weights further away from you. And take a moment to adjust, and you can play with the distance as we do this. And then inhale, curl yourself up. So drawing the weights in towards you as you lift your chest, just a small one to begin. Exhale, lower down. Again, inhale, lift yourself up, press through the tops of your feet, anchor in your hips. Exhale, lower down. And continue to pulse with your breath, maybe finding a little bit more height each round. And really feel the press down in your weights. Feel that tension as you strengthen your back body to lift your chest away. And the next time you lift, we're going to hold. So find a layer that offers a little bit of challenge, but that you can stay here and breathe. Ujjayi Pranayama. Pressing down in your weights, in your hips, and the tops of your feet. Inhale. Exhale, lower slowly all the way down. You can bring your hands under your shoulders. Press yourself up and back. Traditional child's pose, knees come closer together. Bring your forehead to your mat and just relax your hands by your feet. Maybe feel a gentle stretch through your low back. A little compression of your breath against your legs. Slowly come to sitting on your heels. If this isn't comfortable in your body, you could come to cross-legged, how we started practice, or just place a block under your sit bones. And we'll take a gentle twist. So twist to your right, bring your left hand to your right thigh. Your right hand could reach behind you, maybe even gaze over your right shoulder. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist to your left. Being open in your chest, draw your shoulder blades to your midline. You can gaze over your left shoulder. And you could always just lie back into a shavasana or close your practice with a seated meditation. Otherwise, bring your hands together at heart center. Remember, it's the choices you make that define who you are far more than your abilities. Thank you for choosing to practice your yoga. Lift your thumbs to your third eye. We'll close with one final breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Thanks, friends. I hope you had fun playing around in this proper practice, and I'll see you in the next class.